Hello and welcome back to my channel, Afrik Psych. My name is Funny. These opinions are my opinions and no one else's opinions. So today's topic will be about abusive relationships. So this will be part one of the videos. So I want to discuss abusive relationships for all genders, why sometimes it becomes a trend, and why the majority of people stay in those abusive partnerships. But before I do that, I thought it'd be best to discuss what best constitutes a relationship to be abusive. Some of you are in abusive relationships, but you do not know because you cannot identify what abuse is. For some of you, it is part of your daily routine, such as eating and sleeping. So, what constitutes an abusive relationship? Abuse means treating someone with violence, disrespect, cruelty, harm, or even force. When someone treats their partner in any of these ways, it's called an abusive relationship. Any relationship where one person exerts power and control over the other in a negative way is abusive. There is no positive abuse. Therefore, no one cannot say they're abusing you for your own good or it will help you become a better person. It will just make you become the worst version of yourself. Abuse in a relationship can be physical, sexual, emotional, or financial, or it could be all of the above at the same time. No one is immune to abuse or unable to become an abuser. We are all potentials and we need to guide ourselves from both. Try not to be the victim of abuse and try not to be the abuser. People of any ethnicity, age, gender, or sexual orientation can be a victim of abuse. It is never the fault of the abused person. Abuse is always the responsibility of the abuser. There is no excuse in the world for abusing someone. An abusive partner might use mean words, threats, or shaming. They might act with jealousy or controlling behavior, or with physical or sexual violence. These things can start small and build up over time. While some conflict is normal in a relationship, healthy relationships involve two people who are both free to disagree, debate, and have their own opinions. You are still your own person, even if you are in a relationship. Abusive relationships involve one party controlling the other's thoughts, feelings, or actions. So, these are some warning signs, not all of them, that you might be in an abusive relationship. So, the first type would be physical abuse. Physical abuse is when your partner harms you physically in any way. This includes hitting, pushing, shaking, or kicking. It starts with a gesture of them trying to slap you, and then it escalates to eventually laying their hands on you. Your partner creates a sense of seniority towards you and instills some type of fear. The more you allow the abuse to continue, the bigger the fear becomes, making it difficult to walk away. How do you love someone you fear? You are a hostage, not a partner. Some Stockholm Syndrome tendencies where you're falling in love with your captor or kidnapper. Another form of abuse is coercion. This is a form of abuse whereby the abuser forces you to do things you don't want to do, whether through begging, threats, force, or emotional manipulation. This can include sexual activities, but it can also include any other behavior you do not want to do. Abusive people may also use coercion to keep you in a relationship if you try to leave. Going back to sexual abuse, if you do not want to sleep with your partner anymore, you should try and avoid sleeping on the same bed to avoid being tempted. Do not sleep with them when you are feeling aroused or horny and then fight them when they are horny and you are not. You are sending mixed signals. No sex should mean no sex, regardless of how you're feeling at that moment. It should not have terms and conditions or fine prints. I for sure know that I do not read fine prints. An example of coercion would be your partner threatening to harm you if you leave the relationship. Remember, threatening will eventually lead to an action. This is confusing because you are now afraid of leaving because of what they might do, but you do not even know that they will actually do it. So you tend to stay because of fear of the unknown. So either way, whether you stay or go, you are being abused. It might not be physical yet, but definitely emotional. You are now coerced into staying in a relationship where you no longer want to be. Your partner is using you and wasting your time. While you are sticking around because of fear, they are doing whatever the hell they want, including cheating on you, and there's nothing you are doing about it. They will discard you once they are done with you or have found another victim. So you're just there as a spare wheel, basically. Another form would be them threatening to harm themselves if you leave the relationship. So now they're not threatening to harm you, they're threatening to harm themselves. Now you are stuck smothering them so that they do not harm themselves. As fully functioning adults, we are all responsible for our own well-being, protection, and safety from ourselves as well. We know what is right and wrong in our own way. If I'm unable to take care of myself, if I'm capable of harming myself, then I deserve to be institutionalized, be placed in a mental institution, or be allocated a caregiver to make sure I do not harm myself, or be prescribed medication to calm down so I do not harm myself. It is best to refer them to professionals such as therapists or psychiatrists for help, as you are not trained as a layman to deal with such. It is a red flag when someone speaks of harming themselves. Never take it lightly, hence professional help. Get them the help they need and walk away. Another form of abuse is isolation. Abusive partners also commonly isolate the people they abuse. The abusive person may spread lies about you, or they may try to convince you that your family and friends don't actually like you. Either way, the goal is to cut off your support systems that could otherwise help you leave the relationship. So you don't have anyone to run to, you don't have anyone to help you, so you will stay in the relationship. You start seeing the world as an enemy of your relationship. Try and have at least one person you can turn to when things get rough, or alternatively, try and see a therapist every once in a while, like we do when we embark on a spiritual journey. For example, you go to a spiritual person, prophet or traditional healer, etc., to find out about your spiritual well-being. Religious people also have their own ways, for example, confession booth. By seeing a therapist at least once every 2 months can help you know where you are mentally and how your surroundings might be affecting you. The things that you might not be seeing might actually be expressing themselves when you are actually talking to a professional. Another form of abuse is financial control. In some abusive relationships, the abusive party will work to remove their partner's control over their own finances, simply meaning that you do not have control over your own finances. Your partner is the one who controls it. So if you want to buy something or if you want to get something, you have to ask your partner for permission first. This is intended to make it harder for you, the abused person, to leave the relationship because you do not have any financial means to do so. The abusive person may cut off your access to your accounts, hide information about your financial situation, or even try to make you quit your job so that you can be fully functionally dependent on them. And once you become fully functionally dependent on a person, it makes it difficult for you to walk away because you do not have any financial means to support you. Look, there is nothing wrong with combining both your finances and work through them as a team. It becomes a problem when only one person controls the finances of the other as well. For a stable relationship or marriage to be strong, both partners have to actively participate in matters pertaining to a financial decision. No one has a right to keep another person's bank cards to themselves without the consent of the other. When one partner does not know, especially in a marriage, when one partner does not know the finances of the other, it makes it easier for someone else to lead a double life because they can easily buy another condo or buy a house, a car, pay school fees for other children that you do not even know of. So you better know your finances for the both of you. The last one that I have is emotional manipulation. This happens a lot, and a lot of us don't even realize it. So emotional manipulation may include your partner insulting you, constantly insulting you basically for no reason, humiliating you in front of other people, making you feel like you're crazy, calling you names, not your baby, your love, your sweetheart, no, like very bad names, making you feel guilty for normal activities. Now you can't even enjoy yourself because they make you feel guilty for whatever activity that you partake in. They often shame you or make you feel unworthy. They tend to twist the truth to make you feel you are to blame for their actions. An abusive partner will cheat on you, right? Blame you for their infidelity, leading to poor you, skepsel sabatu, apologizing as if you are the one who cheated. By show of hands, how many of you are doing that right now? Apologizing for your partner's mistakes. Your partner may demand to know where you are at all times, but do not confuse a person who wants to know where you are for safety's sake. Since we are living in times where you can just be abducted, hurt, or even be killed, it is always good to have a loved one know where you are at all times. In a healthy relationship, your partner should not even need to ask for your whereabouts. It should be something that you do by default. Letting your partner know your whereabouts does not take away your independence or your identity. Your partner often acts jealous or angry when you want to spend time with your friends. It should be reasonable time, not all the time. You should not be spending more time with your friends while neglecting your partner. Your partner complaining about you not spending enough time with them is not abuse. It is what you should be doing in a stable relationship. If you are not ready to reduce the time you spend with your friends, or reduce the number of friends you have, or you're not ready to say no to your friends, then you are not ready yet to be in a stable relationship. You still want to play. Usanya kodlala. So go out and play with the kids, because relationships are not for children, they are for adults. Relationships are all about compromises from both sides. If you feel like no one can come between you and your friend, your partner included, maybe you should date your friend. Your partner might demand your signing information for your social media accounts or anything that requires your credentials. However, I believe that when you are in a stable, healthy relationship with nothing to hide, there shouldn't be a problem with each of you knowing the other partner's login details. The moment you start being overprotective of your login details or passwords, the other partner will start being paranoid and suspicious of your activities, and then they start appearing abusive. I mean, like, seriously. People who are victims of abusive relationships often live with a number of problems as a result of abuse. And these may include feeling isolated from the rest of the world, because obviously your partner will try and isolate you. You have feelings of embarrassment because you feel like the world can see what you're going through, even though they don't. You have depression because obviously the stresses that are happening in their home environment are causing you to be depressed. You have anxiety because obviously when you're going through everything that you're going through right now with an abusive partner, you're always trying to protect yourself from that partner, especially with physical abuse. You are always protecting yourself. You're blocking whatever that's coming towards you. So you are always anxious. Some people might have suicidal feelings because you're thinking, I don't have a way out of this relationship. As abusive as it is, if I leave, this person might actually kill me or might harm me even further. So the best way to do is to kill myself. Some might have addictions. You might always be drinking alcohol or taking drugs because it makes you feel better and it helps you run away for that moment from your problems at home or from your abusive partner. Some might have injuries, like you might injure yourself intentionally or unintentionally because your mind is always, thinking about the abuse that you're going through. So basically, you are never 100% fully there in a situation. You're always halfway through a situation. Hence, sometimes you are injuring yourself unintentionally because you don't even realize your own surroundings. People might have financial problems. Obviously, if your partner is taking care of all the finances, or rather, if your partner is actually abusing you and not allowing you to play a part in your finances, you will always have financial problems. You will always have excuses when it comes to things pertaining to financials. So, in a nutshell, you end up becoming codependent on your partner. You lack trust in yourself and you have poor self-esteem. And that's exactly what an abusive partner wants from you. Having fear of abandonment or an obsessive need for approval. So you obsessively need your partner to approve of everything that you are doing. You are having an unhealthy dependence on relationships, regardless of what relationship it is, and it is at your own cost. So basically, what you are doing, succumbing to the abuse of your partner, you will also do that in the outside world. For example, at work, you might actually be dependent on unhealthy relationships just to make sure that people like you or people actually see you as a worthy person around them. You might have an exaggerated sense of responsibility for the actions of others. Remember, All of this started somewhere, and you allowed it. You chose to let yourself be abused. Every time when something out of the ordinary happens, our psyche tells us to fight or flight. But you choose to freeze. So you chose to freeze in this situation. Ask yourself, why is it easier for you to identify red flags on your loved ones, including your children, and act on it, but you choose to freeze when you have to act for yourself? It all starts with not knowing your worth. That is the ammunition you are giving your abusive partner. You wouldn't even tolerate a vase, like it could have been slap, if you knew your worth. Healthy relationships involve both partners building each other up. Abusive relationships, on the other hand, involve one party tearing the other down. We as society need to take a step back before judging the alleged abuser, though. There are a lot of people out there who will say and do anything in order to be perceived as a victim. There are pathological liars out there. Some of their reasons might be to spite the other person. Always look for the root cause of the supposed abuse. Look into the situation through a microscopic lens, because you might miss some of the things, and unfortunately in doing so, victimize the real victim and support the perpetrator. Be sure to watch my next video next Friday, where I will be discussing women in abusive relationships, why it is a trend for some, and why they choose to stay. Thank you once again for watching till the end. Do not forget to subscribe if you haven't, hit the like button, turn on notifications, and share.